I'd like to call this meeting of the Boylston Regional School Committee to order. Just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded. Your image and or voice may be broadcast. Okay, so what happened was we had left off on Thursday, right? Where we started voting on, our attempt to do was to lower the assessment and the budget by $225,000. Okay. So, I'm going to go through this quickly. So there were some errors in the numbers, right? Michael, do you want to speak to this?
I mean, yeah, sure. So what we did is there were some changes that had to be made. Our Chapter 70 just was different because we're later in the process, and although they haven't finalized it, we now have the Senate and the House numbers. They're much higher, or slightly higher than the, so I adjusted for that. There was a miscalculation in the minimum local contribution for Boylston, so I had to make a correction for that for the formula to work the way it did. And so between Chapter 70 changes and Chapter 71 changes and the minimum local contribution changes that had to be made, it kind of shifted where we needed to be anyway. Plus I had an error in my calculation on Thursday. So we fixed all that, and as of 5:59 tonight, we now have a $225,000 reduction for Berlin, and it's a combination of changes in the budget and in the actual assessment, and it will require us to add roughly $40,000 in $48,740 in E&D. That will be, which we currently have, which is a good thing. We have that amount at E&D, and we were able to make that adjustment. So.
The only other adjustment is we had around $90,000 that we had originally coming out of E&D, and we changed that to the BMS school choice. So essentially, the BMS school choice balance is going to be somewhere around $31,000. So that.
Can I ask why you changed it?
Because we had to plug the other E&D that he was talking about through E&D.
48,740 over the 90.
Right. It was cleaner in terms of making sure that it impacted Berlin only for the operations assessment.
So something we can talk about down the road is potentially adding school choice seats to Berlin Memorial. I mean, if that's the way the town wants to fund the schools, if the taxpayers don't want increased levy, we have to look at all other options. So that'll be something we'll have to talk about in August. All right, so that being said, we voted 3 numbers on last Thursday. All 3 of those changed. So I'm gonna make 4 motions tonight. The first one will be for the BMS budget. The second will be for the BMS operating assessment. The third will be for the Tohoto operating budget. And the fourth will be for the Tohoto operating assessment for Berlin.
Can you just repeat that?
Yep. So I'm gonna make 4 motions tonight.
Just so you know, I'm taking notes to put in an email that we have to send while Sally takes notes.
Okay, perfect. So I have 4, I know, so my voice can be heard. So I'm gonna make 4 motions tonight. One will be for the BMS operating budget. The second will be for the BMS operating assessment. The third will be for the Tohoto operating budget. The fourth will be for the Tohoto operating assessment. So motion number 1. Could I please have a motion to adjust the Berlin Memorial operating budget to $4,969,869.86?
So moved.
Okay, Jess.
Second.
And Laurie is a second. All right, any discussion on that number? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'm an aye as well. That motion passes. That's 5-0. 5-0, okay. right, next motion, could I please have a motion to approve the BMS operating assessment in the amount of $4,306,066.93? Did you get the number?
I think so. I'm gonna double check with you.
$4,306,066.93.
So moved.
Thank you, Laurie.
Second.
All right, Julie, any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm an aye as well. That motion passes 5-0. Number 3, could I please have a motion to adjust the Tohoto operating budget to $12,116,011.07. 70? 7-0.
Cents.
I will say that again. Could I please have a motion to adjust the Tohoto operating budget to $12,116,011.70?
So moved.
All right, Lori and Julie, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'm an aye as well. That motion passes 5-0. Last one, Tohoto assessment. This is the one we did not vote on Thursday. Could I please have a motion to approve the Tohoto operating assessment in the amount of $3,529,597.74?
So moved.
All right, Laurie,
Second.
Jess, any discussion on that?
I may have missed it. Did you say Berlin's share?
I did not. Okay, so, do I need to amend that? Okay, can I amend it?
Well, no one.
No one moved it, so yeah.
Oh, did we? We did.
Oh, we did.
They moved it and seconded it.
Yeah, so we have to make an amendment. Do you want to make an amendment, Jess?
I would like to make an amendment for Berlin's portion of that,
Of the
of the
Tohoto
Tohoto assessment,
Operating.
operating assessment, which is $3,529,597.74. Okay. Does anyone want to
I'll
second
second
that?
Okay, so the amended motion on the table is to approve Berlin's portion of the Tohoto operating assessment in the amount of $3,529,597.74. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'm an aye as well. The amendment passes.
That's the amendment.
Yep, so now the original motion I have to vote on.
Yeah. We have to vote on the amendment first, and then the original.
And then the original
The
motion.
amended motion.
Amendment was to add the word Berlin's portion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the original motion that we had already seconded. All right, so could I have a motion to, or no?
No,
all right.
we just have to vote.
We just have to vote.
Vote on the amended motion.
We voted the amendment.
We voted for the amendment, now we have to do the amended motion.
The first motion.
The amended motion.
The
amended.
now amended motion.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. So that motion passes 5-0. All right, could I please have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Laurie?
There was,
Are they coming
there
to
was,
meet
there was, yeah,
with
there,
us, though? I don't think we want to.
I don't think we want to adjourn.
Well, it's 6:15.
No, they told me to email them the numbers. They needed it in writing.
But Scott was just saying they were gonna come
No,
here.
Scott's coming in after his business.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you not want to do the debt assessments, or no? We can do those tomorrow night. We decided.
The debt assessments did not change, so we don't need to vote on those.
You already did?
I was going to double check that too.
Those have not changed at all.
Okay, yep, that's right, you voted. the
May 7th, we didn't vote them. Those have been the original ones since March 19th.
86. Got it.
But we're gonna, Laurie, they need a total number. They need one total number, so, the total number is gonna be, these numbers in Carol's sheet are the correct numbers, because we worked on them.
So we could also, okay. So maybe I'll take a pic, I'll send this, but I'll take a picture of this and send it as a PDF.
So does he still want to come in and try to move this more?
All right, so let's do all in favor. I made a motion to adjourn the meeting. It was seconded.
And we don't want to adjourn.
We don't want to,
Yes,
so
you
we
guys
want
don't want to adjourn.
No, I
Nay.
think it would be behoove us to meet with them before this meeting.
Okay.
So let's vote it down.
so just say nay.
Well, he's doing business. He said when they're done, they're gonna come in. Cause John, you told them we're in here. Yep. They just had.
So we want to vote down that motion to end the
All
meeting.
right, so all in favor.
Nay.
All in favor.
Ending the
I made a
meeting.
motion to adjourn the meeting. It was seconded. They don't want to adjourn the meeting. They want to wait. I guess the finance guy wants to come in and.
If you would try, you won't be able to reopen.
Yep. Yeah. So that
So
they
we
all
just say
voted it
nay,
down.
Nay, 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 nay.
All right. That motion did not pass, so the meeting is still up. So what Scott had said earlier was that. Actually, I couldn't follow what he said earlier, so we should just wait for him to come in.
Okay.
I don't know if you did.
Misspeak.
Yeah, no, it was too quick. I couldn't follow what he was trying to say. Right? Did you?
Well, yeah, but I don't want him to misspeak.
Okay. All right. All
He
right.
wants to see if we can get any more school choice to close this first.
He wants us to apply more cash.
Yeah.
Megan, you gotta introduce us to.
Oh, yeah, while we're here, so this is Corey. He is our attorney for Myrick O'Connell, filling in for Kim for the next couple weeks until Kim is gone. So he's here to help us out tonight if the need
you.
arises.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you so much for your presence. Yeah.
So Laurie,
So I am going to,
what do they need, the assessment?
so he said he wanted the numbers, so let's see.
Isn't this total?
Yeah, so Megan, I'm sending you this PDF.
So
Can you just give it to them? This?
yeah, they should be able to pull it off of
But they
this.
said they need a record of it, so it has to come through an email, so I'm just gonna take all these numbers and put them
So
in
it's
there.
4306066 plus 143132. So Berlin Memorial, so the total budget, 3529597 plus 498,188. The total number is $8,476,983.93. Let me do that again. No, it's over.
That's all of us.
Yeah, depending on that.
Okay. Oh, perfect timing. Thank you, Laurie.
Should we give those papers to them? Or?
I also, so I sent the numbers. Did you get something?
Yes.
I sent the numbers and then I sent this PDF. Let me just double check them actually attached to the line. Oh, yeah.
Did you get his
Oh, I didn't send it to Scott. I just didn't have it in my, let me forward it to you.
What email?
Thank you, Jess.
Actually, you can just send it to the FinCom at Berlin.
This is the handout, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, you got, okay.
Yeah, FinCom.
So there's one, and then I'll send you the PDF as well, just so you have it. Just let me know when you have it.
If I may through the chair.
Yes, Kristen, yeah. I was just waiting for Laurie, but yes.
Oh, okay, no, I can wait.
I sent it.
Everything's good?
No, but they haven't received it yet. I'm on the Wi-Fi. It says it's sent. Oh, you have it? I have it. Perfect.
I just got
It just came through.
Okay.
All right, excellent.
Just slow.
Fantastic, yes.
If we can just take that new number and subtract that capital amount from it so we can get the correct raise and appropriate number, because the capital comes from free cash and we don't want to raise and appropriate the capital because that would add more taxes.
What about the debt, Kristen?
That does come out of the operating budget. That does come out of raise and appropriate.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Capital for BMS as well as capital for,
I'll have to.
okay.
So the numbers we voted didn't include capital, it just included debt.
Okay, so it's.
Oh, it didn't include debt. I mean, it didn't include capital.
So the no, because on Michael, on this sheet that Carol did, the capital budget is on here. No, the number that Laurie just sent did include capital. Yep, it did include capital. So I'll do that real quick right now. So it's 4306066.93 plus. So we're not doing that capital. We're doing 4221218.23 plus. Nope, that was the budget. All right, so it's 4306066.93. That's the operating assessment for Berlin. It's 3529597. Okay, and then the debt stayed the same. So that's 459935, right? 459459935. All right, so the total number 8295598.93. So is that the number you need Laurie to email you?
Yep. Oh, tell me what 8295.
Okay, Laurie, it's
Yep.
$8,295,598.93. Again, I'm doing this. 4306
So that's minus the capital.
Could you repeat that number again, Megan?
Yes. For tonight? So are you guys doing everything separate tonight or one number?
The warrant's one number.
It'll eventually be
One
one
number,
number.
but it's good, so it's gonna be the total, but some coming out of, coming out of free cash to cover the capital items.
Okay, 459,935, 459,935. All right, so Kristen, you wanted me to repeat the number that is the total operating assessment for BMS plus the total operating assessment for Tohoto plus the debt.
Correct.
Okay, $8,295,598.93. Someone fact check me. I'm doing this math quick.
It's slightly different, but
What did you get?
$8,295,599.67.
So you're off by
Right.
$1.
So, and I think as a whole, we round things to dollars.
Yeah, Michael's been using cents, so I've been. So we'll just say 599. Yeah, 599. Yep. Yep, it's the rounding is what it is. Because my debt, I have the debt, I have a 00. I bet you have the exact number. Yep.
What's the number we're reducing by?
Is the,
It should be a reduction the reduction should be, it should be a reduction of, the assessment should be going down by 225,000.
Even.
It should be, it's like it was 224,999.9, so like it was
It's close.
225 for all intents and purposes.
and the debt repayment is separate on that one too, or you have included that in the BMS, or excuse me, the Tohoto?
The debt?
Yeah, is it that in the Tohoto assessment, the number you gave, or?
The Tohoto assessment that we voted on did not include the debt. We included the debt in the debt is the 459,935, right?
Yes.
Both operating assessments combined are $7,835,664.
So you've done that as cuts as opposed to any more sort of funds from any sort of.
No, so what we actually did is we used,
Out of curiosity, because again, you can do what you want with the numbers, but Just trying
Yep.
to get a sense of what was cuts and what was added.
We
in.
took, sorry, I've got
We're
some.
off like $10,000.
I get a $10,000 difference too.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where
I didn't want to say anything because I thought it was just me
No.
doing math on the phone.
All right, so what are we, what's,
Hey, John, do you have a chalkboard that you'd like to
We don't use chalkboards anymore.
Math teacher in the building to help all of us out.
okay, so the Berlin Memorial,
Don't rush here, they'll wait for us.
okay, all right, let me take a look at this real quick, Scott. Because if we have to, we'll vote again.
I run
Yeah. I subtracted this total from that, and then I subtracted that.
Michael, you know what would be helpful? Your sheet that shows, if anyone wants,
Up or
Kristen.
down?
Yeah, are you up or down?
Are we up or down 10,000?
We are, I'm coming up with 215.
All right, go look at his sheet.
Right, he has it on a spreadsheet, so.
Hi, friend.
I'm not sure where.
Can I show you what I did? So I took the number in the warrant
Yeah.
and I subtracted out the capitals,
Yep.
and then I subtracted out the 255. I'm sorry, the 225, and I came out to 214. I just deleted it. I did it 3 times because I thought I was wrong. So
So,
if I subtract, I know it's just about 225, so I might be off a couple pennies, but, and then if I subtract out the capital, which is 181, 385, I get 8285, not 8295.
Yeah, that's right, it's 214, 733, is that what you got?
It's 10 grand lower than it should be.
Yeah.
you're 10 grand lower.
You are reducing the budget by 10 grand less than it should be reduced.
But
So
we're-
instead of reducing by 225, you're reducing by 215. It should be reduced by another 10.
But I'm at 8295.
And it should be 8285. What are we missing? Our starting number is not the same?
Well, it probably isn't because there were changes to
Oh.
get to this.
Yeah, he had
There
to
were-
update. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
I'm going off the numbers in the warrant.
Right.
Right.
So we're sort of ignoring that and just going with the assessment based on a cleaner version of the, using the right chapter 70, 71, which had to be adjusted.
Okay, so these numbers in the warrant are not correct anymore.
Correct.
Can you tell me which ones they are?
Yep, so that number, 4508106, is now 4306067.
And that's the adjusted number.
That's the adjusted number.
Okay, and then the Tohoto adjusted number for operating? It's helpful for me to just have it all on one
Sure.
sheet, thank you.
It's 12 million.
No, our portion.
Oh, come on, pay for
I
it.
know, I can't pay for 12, I'm sorry.
3,529. This actually might be the same number. 598.
Okay. So the cuts are actually 215, not 225.
Off the warrant number.
The
When we
cuts
go up.
are actually 225.
But your
because
budget went up.
Yes, because he adjusts chapter 70 and chapter 71 were, so the assessment calculation for May 7th, the chapter 70 and chapter 71 were too high. They were incorrect.
Okay, so.
So he had to lower those.
Right.
Because we actually, the more accurate numbers came out, right?
So the net cut though then is 215.
I think,
Off of the warrant number, yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Because ours adds up to 224.
because you lowered your, or your.
But that's included, those changes are included in the new adjustments. So we cut Berlin operations by 202, and we cut Tohoto operations by 23.
Behind to your camera.
You're fine.
Yeah, but that's the expense. I get what she's saying. It's because the chapter 70, chapter 71, and the E&D changed.
What was your starting number for Berlin Memorial operating before you cut?
Oh.
5,177,184
Our portion?
for Berlin Memorial. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have 4,508,106. For operating.
It was, Kristen, it was 4,508,106.
It was,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's the budget. The operating.
I'm sorry, I may not have asked the
Yep.
question
No,
the right
you
way.
got it right.
And then is the Tohoto starting number different? Is that where the
Yes.
10 is different? It's not 3,542,292?
Correct.
Just in case we get asked, I just want to get.
Yep.
I know. This got so complicated. Well, we figured we'd use the right number since we were voting again.
I mean, it does make sense to use the right number. I just want to be clear that it is just that net difference of 215,
Although-
not
I
225.
think Tohonto's the same, right? 3,529,598.
Did we start at 3,542?
Yes.
Or did we start at 3,552? I think that's where the difference
We
lies.
never recalculated the original number. What
Yeah,
he did
I
is he
know that.
just calculated the new number.
Yeah. I don't.
So if you use the corrected chapter 70 and chapter 71 with the old expense, so Michael, if you just go up in your spreadsheet, if you just if you put this number right there, then what would your assessment be?
Copy that.
Yep.
And lose it.
That's right.
These things are hard to do on the fly.
Oh my God, he
goodness
is
me.
now. I think he's gonna have a hard time.
No, let's not have a breakdown. Take your
Yeah,
time.
it's good, it's fine.
We can start after 6:30. We already
Okay.
confirmed
Yeah,
the council.
there it is.
We're good.
So what did you have? 3,537.
I had 3,542,292.
This jumped it up a little bit. 3,537,597.
So yeah, that's what, we just have to use this. So I think Kristen, we don't have a starting number. Don't mess with it. You're never gonna calculate that now on the fly.
Okay.
That spreadsheet's way too complicated.
Okay.
So I would just keep the original numbers in there, and yes, the cuts only come down to 204, the school district cut $215,000.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't losing my
We
mind.
cut 225 from the budget, but it
But it had to
to
go
the
up.
assessment, yes, because of the chapter 70 and chapter 71 were too high in the original calculation
Okay.
of the assessment. We had to lower the chapter 70 and chapter 71 in this current assessment calculation, and that's part of the difference. And that difference was about 10,000, so that's why we did cut 225 from the budget, but the assessment is only cut by the 214.
It might just be worth explaining that up front, just so folks know that the numbers are different.
Yes,
Yeah, because the chapter 70 difference is almost $20,000.
okay. Yeah, so we can, I'm happy to, if the moderator would let me, I wanted to say a few things, just like 2 minutes, just to say, that's something I can easily explain.
Okay. Well, we can ask Barry.
All right, perfect.
Kristen, we're checking the capacity limit. We may be at limit,
Okay.
and we still have hundreds of people trying to get in.
Oh my.
So can we move it outdoors?
So, just to let you know.
How far does the Wi-Fi work outside?
Works
Does
around the
anyone know?
building, but there would be no.
Leave the hotspot on your phone.
What about in?
Well, the base that calculates all of the devices would need to be able to be in range of
But I'm saying there's no
Wi-Fi.
microphone, so if people got up for public comment.
Well, how many devices do we have?
700. That may do it.
We've
we
already,
do overflow?
we've already filled the gym.
Yeah.
This is not gonna.
We don't have a television in here that we can.
Right. But yeah, we're checking the numbers.
Barry could appoint a, what is it called? Not an alternate moderator, an additional moderator. But then we'd have to be able to have sound somehow so folks could hear what's going on in there.
We're gonna be closer.
Shutting us down?
Just, the seats aren't full yet, but as everybody's filling in and watching how long the line is of people coming in,
Is there a way to put some people in here and have it?
that's what I was just, after talking to the moderator, he's okay if we can do TVs in here and have this as an overflow room, but I don't know if we have the capability of doing that in-house with IT and.
Can we use the screen and?
High school
The
kids.
screen doesn't have audio.
Okay,
Yeah, you can't turn people away.
no.
Well, yeah, desk speakers.
But you can have an additional
Yeah,
moderator with a
absolutely.
TV.
Is there a way we could do like,
Or do we want to adjourn this school committee meeting?
I did just talk to
we adjourn
Roger
this?
about what is possible, he doesn't know what's possible either. Once Brittany's back, he'll start talking to her.
what about the school sound system where you make announcements? Can we tie into that? Oh.
No, it's done over the phone.
So why can't that just be right next to Barry or?
In the office. We don't have a phone in the gym, right?
This is Barry's
We
school.
still have people coming.
Whatever he decides is what we'll do.
I mean, at the rate we're going to look at another probably
There's
hour to
more-
get people checked in.
People, I wonder if you could do it as,
Well,
you
we
don't,
have
do
an
you have
hour to
a,
get people checked in, we have an hour to set something
do you
up.
have a karaoke call?
Oh, you know what?
No, so,
Ace has one.
oh, Brittany's here.
Yeah, it's like. it's
Brittany's
like
here.
a
She
speaker
sound.
to do it outside.
Brittany's here. She can.
All right.
Yes, all
School
right.
committee, could I please have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Wait, did Scott want to?
Did you want to say something else?
Yes, before we
Okay.
get to this point, so one of the things, basically, we still have a difference deficit of $301,579, or close to that, do my math on that. So one of the things I had mentioned to you, and of course, it's good to have your attorney here. So was there any additional possibility of looking at the internal revenues that you have, school choice, circuit breaker? We know with the numbers of at least circuit breaker significantly above expected from what was originally before, for what was known at the original town meeting. I don't know if you'd be able to resolve the $180,000 difference on school choice.
We did.
And was it positive or negative? What
No,
was-
no.
Neutral.
It
It was a typo in the beginning balance on that sheet that you looked at.
okay. So what does
Ending
that mean?
balance.
The audit was correct? The audit
The
number was
audit was
correct?
correct. That number appeared on that sheet,
Yeah.
but it was dispersed incorrectly in the calculations as they went through.
Okay, but either way, the number was $180,000 more than the original number showing on that budget piece, based on the audit number, correct? Because the audit number had a $180,000 balance at the end of fiscal year 23.
Right. We added 90,000 into this budget, into the operations.
You added additional 90,000 from what
Additional
was
90,000.
done at town meeting?
Yes,
Okay, of school choice?
a school choice.
And was that distributed, was all at the Tonto, or how was it?
That was all at Berlin Memorial here.
You did additional 90,000 into BMS?
Yes.
So that was part of the 215,000?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
225, yeah, that only is now 215.
Okay, all right, so that was.
Nancy's chapter, the original chapter 70 and chapter 71 numbers were too high.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you got that, yeah.
So that was a $10,000
Yep.
difference there. So, okay, so
another little thing.
coming up with the $225,000 reduction, it was reductions in combination of 90,000 to BMS of school choice, school choice revenue. The reason I was bringing up is, there's a possibility or a combination of things. I mean, we're kind of limited at this meeting because of what's on the warrant. So one of the things I had discussed, and I briefly had brought this up in one of our finance committee meetings after the failed vote at town meeting, and saw two combinations of monies that would kind of get halfway there if the schools could possibly get the other halfway there on whether it's circuit breaker or school choice. Of combination of things where we had a brief discussion of additional 30,000 to the levy. Again, Finance Committee hasn't voted on that, and another 116,000 from free cash that we will wash out from our meeting. We can wash out in our meeting in the fall, because one of the things that we did in this particular budget, we had reduced instead of funding 2 police officers from the mitigation fund for public safety from the Highland Commons, we had reduced that to just 2 police officers instead of 3 previously. So that number reduced it by 116,000. So a combination of 116, 30,000 would be 146,000. Well, of course, I thought that was about the halfway point before until we found this extra 10. So the halfway point is 5,000 short. If there was anything that could close that other gap on the other side from the schools, we could possibly come to an actual agreement and have a recommended budget from both sides. So I don't know if you've had discussions of what could be done, especially with the circuit breaker money, because I know there was an additional 512,000 that above what was originally forecasted.
Right. So a little less than half of that circuit breaker has to be spent before the end of this school year. So we'll have to do that. So then, and I don't know what our allotted amount will be over the summer. And we're using now $300,000 of our E&D, which was certified this past year at $500,000. So, I mean, I would leave it to the school committee about, one of the things I think I mentioned to you earlier in an earlier conversation was the timing of this is just such that in the fall might be an opportunity for us to really look at being able to address returning some funds through E&D to the towns.
Unfortunately, it's conflicting with when the tax rates have to be set.
Right. So,
so you mentioned that the certified E&D was 500,000,
right,
and you're using 300,000 to this budget,
right?
Okay. Will there be any consideration of making that of the 200,000 remaining into 150,000, and we can see if we can close it?
Totally
That's up to the school committee, and obviously we have discussions on the finance committee about the thoughts I have on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's there, it's certified. I feel more comfortable about this conversation in October, but because I don't know if I don't think you were on the email. There was a question about the transportation and the changes in the transportation. And when I went back to see what would be available, I actually realized that we have a shortfall already in the plan for next year because monies were taken out in the budget process. So I don't have a good handle on where other shortfalls might be. And I know, for example, we have one student who's in the works for decisions about a placement. So those kinds of things are going to happen over the summer, and that's where we're going to have to figure out how to pay for those. So $200,000 doesn't go as far as one might think, but it's certainly up to the school committee and how they want to go for goodwill. And
So if I might ask a question, Megan, this is the voted March 19th budget. Okay, so if I heard the conversation, the 180,000 that somehow was a mistake, and so school choice, we've now moved 90,000 to BMS and 90,000 to BES. So this is actually the stake in the ground. We have to take a snapshot, and let's just say, on a hypothetical basis, that the schools could put, let's pick a number, 500,000 in state revenues that are sitting in your coffers, including general fund revenues. Take all the revenues, circuit breaker, revolving, school choice, general funds. As we sit here today, let's assume we can get rid of these contingencies. Sort of a what if. Is the school committee willing to put 500,000 in revenue to get us past this problem tonight? And if not 500,000, what are you willing? Not, just go right to contingencies. And I'm sorry, I was very tired on the 10th of June. I didn't ask the question that night. But it really is important to me to understand whether the 6 members of the committee are willing to do this. Because the really short answer to get these people home and out of that room is to put revenue on the table. And I'm hearing a lot of stuff, and I know it's complicated, but I'm asking a simple question about the goodwill, the willingness of a school committee to come to the town with a reasonable offer. What are you doing?
So you're asking me, I will say my personal opinion on the topic. So we've applied $700,000 of cash to the Tohoto budget. We've applied $191,000 of cash to the Berlin Memorial budget. These are all through school choice. The circuit breaker we've already applied.
They're taking this budget as a baseline, not what's already done. Just this.
Okay.
This document. This is what the school committee gave us.
So we've
This
applied
document,
90,000 more.
Put cash in on
Yep.
top of this document because the at a minimum, the circuit breaker and the audit letter, the circuit breaker state numbers, the audit letter, they were not disclosed, not used here. So take this budget as a baseline. How much revenue can you put on the table to get us out of the problem we're in? Pretty simple question.
It's
But the
not-
revenue, but wait, Mary, but the revenue we didn't have.
You have it, it came in. The school choice monies were available as of June 30, 2023.
Yeah.
Those circuit breaker monies, according to DESI's published numbers, $998,000 came in to this district in fiscal '24. Can we use more of those monies to close the gap? This man has worked tirelessly to come up with reasonable resolutions. I so admire him. I don't have his patience or his facility with numbers. I need it to be simple, and that's my simple question here.
So the more cash we put on, right, the more non-recurring revenue we put into the budget, because the circuit breaker is meant for special ed expenses, right? It's not meant to just defray general.
Yeah, just like
expenses.
free cash is meant for one time. We all know that. We know that.
So if
what
we do-
are you willing to do? Come up with a number.
if
Do
we-
you have a number? If not, fine, I'll go away.
Well, we we just put the $214,000 is what
That's
we.
cuts. That's cuts in.
Well, out of that
That's
was-
out of the expense side. I want to look at the revenue side. The budget has two parts, and you balance it.
90,000 of that 225 was school choice. Not all of that was cuts. 90,000 was school choice.
Okay,
chunk
so
of
you
that
have
came-
some revenue and some expense.
Yes, a chunk of that
Yeah.
came out of E&D. A chunk of that, Michael, could you speak to the?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It was about 90,000 in additional school choice monies. The rest at Berlin Memorial were in cuts, and then at Tohoto there were less in cuts, but we're adding. We have almost $500,000 in E&D now. And I know you keep mentioning the circuit breaker. Keep in mind, in FY24, we had over 600, I think it was like $654,000 in expenses. So out of that 998, you got to subtract those 654 of expenses.
I don't think you had that at Berlin Memorial, did you?
No, but in total budget, that's a total number of circuit breakers. That's not just Berlin Memorial.
According to this document, it wasn't applied. Okay?
It wasn't
This
what?
is-
I'm sorry.
According to this document, it wasn't applied. This document, the school committee budget did not apply that money. It's not in here. I spent days studying this. It is not in here.
So the way the budget was developed, the previous director applied circuit breaker and school choice as reductions before it went to the discussion of.
Okay. And this committee voted on it. So let's just go with the budget. I don't want to talk about somebody not in the room. Let's go with the budget.
Yep.
What can we do? Those
That's fine.
revenues that are not reflected here, that are in public records as
Right.
being in hand, in
Right.
the district, in your reserve funds, what can we do with them?
Right.
So we got the 90,000 out of school choice. Let's start working on the circuit breaker number. Or a general fund, or E&D, put it in there.
But then what's gonna happen next year when we have to build that into the assessment?
We're
Right
gonna-
now, the BMS school choice, it'll be gone next year. There'll be $0 in the school choice balance at BMS next year.
Well, that is also a school committee choice. What do you
Okay,
mean?
a choice.
She's saying with the vote.
To add.
Well, we can add, I think in Berlin, at this building, we can only add seats in one grade. Every other grade is at capacity.
I got it. So we have all these people tonight. I'm talking about tonight. And if the members of the school committee are willing to sit with us, with our select board, with this guy, the Boy Scout over here that's always trying to work a fix, and where's the other one? Where's the other Scott? The two Scots. We need to sit in the fall and figure out what the long-term plan is for how to fund these schools. Okay? But right now, we got a hole to dig out of. And you have the revenue to dig us out. So are you willing to put it against the problem?
What is there available?
Well, you have about 200,000 of E&D that you haven't used yet.
What about the rest that she's talking about?
You've got, you've got about probably another 400,000 circuit breaker that's but keep in mind we used about 600,000.
Right, so we have 400,000 left, and that
Right.
typically would take us through 2 years, basically 24 and 25.
That would be the goal.
So all
sure.
we have left for the next budget.
We will get some replenished on the circuit.
So
breaker.
in
Yeah, we'll get
26,
some.
there'll be 0.
Let me remind you, this budget
No,
has
because it'll be
reserves and all
Yeah,
those
circuit
funds. It
breaker.
calls out the reserves.
Okay,
They're not
so then
spent.
400.
The reserves are here.
Done. Forget it.
So
So you say we have 600